Thieves will steal our cars, our valuables, just about anything they can get their hands on.
To cut down on crime and antisocial behaviour, the police are now using new tactics where the bad guys actually get caught in the act.
They're launching covert operations.
Keep pretending you're talking on the phone for a bit longer, okay, mate?
And setting clever traps.
The laptop he's about to steal is equipped with a tracking device
that deliver unsuspecting crooks
go
right into their hands.
And there are also ways that we, the public and local businesses, can fight back with some tricks of our own.
I weren't going to sit back and let them do this.
We've caught you and we're sending you down.
So, anyone who's up to no good had better think twice. They might just get caught red-handed. Coming up on today's Caught Red-Handed, a terrifying ordeal begins for a young couple.
They've pushed my wife down, they've hit me with the butt of their gun.
But they find a way to turn the tables on two dangerous criminals. Also today, a burglar helps himself to a laptop, unaware he's fallen straight into a police trap.
We're looking at the map which indicates where that laptop went when it left the property.
And nicking charity tins. Would anyone stoop so low? Yes, they would. First, a dramatic story where it's the public, not the police, using technology to catch villains. It's just coming up to 3:30 on a quiet weekday afternoon in the town of Smethwick, West Midlands. Though, in just a few minutes' time, that peace will be shattered. A transit van slows and parks up on the pavement. It looks like any other delivery van and goes unnoticed by the shoppers and the school children walking home. But its true purpose is sinister. From the opposite direction, two men walk up to the door of this jeweller's. They're buzzed in and enter a security airlock before being allowed through the second door. They ask to look at some gold jewellery. Meanwhile, the transit van creeps up to place itself right outside the jeweller's window. Inside, while one man smiles and jokes with the couple who run the store, the other keeps holding his phone up to his ear and looking towards the direction of the van. A brief nod is given. It's time. The man with the phone reaches into his pocket and pulls out a gun. A terrifying armed robbery begins, but it's one that will end with the burglars getting more than they bargained for. Deepak's family have been jewellers for generations. 5 years ago, he took over his family's store that specialises in Asian gold. During this time, he met and married Preeti. But before the pair started running the shop together, Deepak warned his wife what she was letting herself in for.
When I first met my husband, he actually asked me this question. He said, us as jewellers live a completely different life. I mean, security-wise, we always have to think twice, even 3 times. We have to look over our shoulder many times.
We just know that the kind of dangers that we have to live through every day, constantly checking, because we're all as a target, you see.
Is that something that you're willing to take on? That's one of the first things he said to me, and I remember it till this day.
Before the day these two men walked through the door, the couple's store had already been attacked on 2 separate occasions.
We've had someone come in with a knife, we've had someone actually smash through the doors. At that time, it was just myself here. The size of the sledgehammers that they come in with, they're like basically bigger than my head, and they've helped themselves to almost the whole shop.
That time, the gang fled with their bin bags full of loot, leaving Deepak and Preeti to pick up their pieces.
The thing is, you've worked all your life to build a business, you've worked all your life to put something into your life, and for them just to spend a minute in your shop and take your livelihood off you, it's just, there's no words to describe what it feels like.
The thieves got away with it, and it was months before the couple could reopen.
I wasn't going to let that happen again, because you're always a target.
To guard against future smash and grab attempts, doors were reinforced, glass toughened, more cameras added. Crucially, Deepak also invested in the latest protection technology, a smoke machine that would go off if a panic button was hit, pumping the store with a harmless dense vapour.
Literally, you can't really see your hand in front of your face that far.
It's the basic concept. If you can't see it, you won't be able to nick it.
2 years later, the couple's nerve and their new measures are about to face the ultimate test when these two armed robbers enter their shop.
It was just an ordinary day. These two guys came up the door. We didn't think twice. They posed as customers and wanted to look at articles of jewellery at first. That's why we didn't suspect anything.
But suddenly, the friendly tone changes.
At this point in the conversation, one of them says to us, "Okay, go to the back room." It didn't register at first, what did you say? It's like, go to the back room, and then it's at that point when they've pulled the guns out at us and jumped over the counters, and they're walking us to the back room.
To subdue the couple, the robbers aren't afraid to use violence.
They've pushed my wife down, they've hit me on the back of my head with the butt of their gun, and punched me a few times or kicked me a few times in my stomach and stuff.
For someone, a loved one, to be hurt like that, it's just really, there's no words, to be honest.
Beaten but not down, the young couple unleashed their defences on the attackers.
They've come in, they've hurt our life and everything. We don't want them to get away with this.
And it's chaos in the high street.
At one point, we could actually see one of their arms and foot come out through the glass.
Every day in England and Wales, around 2,000 homes are broken into. That's nearly 1 every 45 seconds. Burglars get punished if they're caught, but being a victim can also carry a heavy sentence.
Burglary can be very devastating on people. It's an intrusion into their privacy. Their personal effects are invaded, their privacy is invaded, and it can affect people in varying degrees. To the point with elderly could die from shock. It's not a nice crime, it's a horrendous crime, and that's one which we take very, very seriously.
So seriously that on the streets of Dudley in the West Midlands, police are taking over houses. Julie and Nick look like any other couple moving in, but really they're plainclothes police officers setting up what's called a capture house. Last year, burglaries were starting to become a big problem in Dudley.
In the August, we'd had in excess of over 115 offences. So as a result of that, we knew we had to do something different to prevent that spike re-emerging this August. We all fully appreciate that having someone break into your home can be absolutely devastating, and it actually can be something that you struggle to deal with for a long time after.
Ken and Doreen Mabbitt are a couple who suffered a particularly cruel loss. They were on holiday in France when their daughter rang to tell them their home had been broken into.
That in itself was a shock. But what was more distressing was she said that the safe had been taken.
In the safe were items belonging to Angela, the daughter Ken and Doreen lost at the age of 7.
Well, a lock of her hair is one thing, which we took. The announcements of her birth and her death and things that were in the paper that, had been said about her. The other thing that was in there was a gold charm bracelet, and when Angela was born, then my husband bought me a little stalk to go on it, and then when she died he had a special one made for me. Although the bracelet, in terms of, was worth quite a lot of money, that to me didn't matter at all. It was what was on there, and those memories, they can't ever be replaced. They can't be replaced.
Inspector Andy and his team were desperate to reduce the number of heartbreaking burglaries such as Ken and Doreen's. So he and another detective, we'll call him Dave, came up with the idea of a capture house. Dave has been undercover on some of the biggest covert operations in the Midlands. Because of this, we can't reveal his identity or that of the capture house.
We were sort of pioneers in developing capture house decoy houses. Over the years in the police since that day, I've been on specialist teams where I've had the opportunity to develop those skills, and also the increase in technology where the size of these cameras has gone a lot smaller, allowing us really to meet in the middle and to hide this equipment and to utilise it.
Dave has all the expertise that's needed to turn an ordinary house like this one into a capture house. Rigged with cameras and sensors, it becomes a technological trap for any uninvited visitors.
One of the types of equipment we do use to indicate that there is a burglary in process is one of our 3G alarm sensors. It seems quite blocky, quite square, and it does stand out, but obviously utilising different bits of furniture, we can, to a degree, hide these. We put it on an obvious point of entry, as it is in the window here, into a bit of furniture, and then nice and simple, we press the button to arm, and then within a matter of time, on my mobile phone, I should have a signal saying that it is armed, and it's activated.
Any intruder passing that sensor will trigger an alarm in the police control room, and that won't be their only problem.
What we use is some unique taggant spray which contains a barcode, and we'll spray that onto the window, so hopefully anyone climbing through will transfer this from the window frame either onto their hands or onto their clothing. If they have got this spray on them, it's not just a case of the dye, that contains a unique barcode which clarifies to this can. There is no way anyone can say they haven't been into that, because we own the control sample of this can.
Working his way throughout the entire house, Dave conceals cameras in every room.
I'm just trying to keep it as natural as possible, trying to hide any of the cables, so it doesn't stand out, catch people's eyes as being different from the vase. Best thing about these is they give us full night vision, so we can put these behind anywhere, and we're satisfied if it is dark we will get a very good clear image of anyone entering the premises.
And covering every possible entry point with forensic liquid.
Again, in the bedroom, I've sprayed some of the jewellery with taggant spray. This will identify this property to this address.
Secreted amongst the suburbs from council estates to smart new developments, there are 10 capture houses currently active. Later, the Dudley operation pays off. A thief takes the bait while the police close in. Also coming up, a woman watches a robbery in real time as her own house is being burgled.
My name is Jean Thomas. I'm watching my home on live monitor, and there's a man in my house and he's robbing it.
Now they say charity begins at home, but some thieves are all too happy to take your charity home. Like this man in a bar. Having already signalled to the barmaid on the phone that he is content to wait before ordering, he uses her distraction to sneakily feel the weight of the collection box on the bar, quickly whipping his hand away when she changes direction. He then waits for the perfect opportunity to stuff the box under his top and stroll out. Disgusted, the bar owners have put this footage up on the internet in the hope that it will lead to somebody eventually recognising this hard-hearted robber. Well, you can't get much lower than that, can you? Well, yes, actually you can. In Eastbourne, this youth is about to steal from a funeral parlour. Yes, a funeral parlour! A Help for Heroes charity box for wounded servicemen has caught his eye. He makes a reach for it, only to be put off by the sound of the manager coming out to the front. He says to her that he wants to find out about costs for his nan's funeral. While she goes into the back to fetch him an information pack, the 19-year-old, ignoring the cards of condolence and gratitude surrounding it, stuffs the tin down his tracky bottoms before leaving quickly. But he wasn't going to get away with it. The owner was particularly upset as her own son had been helped by the charity after he'd lost a leg and part of his hand in Afghanistan, so she handed the footage over to the police and local television news. After it was broadcast, ashamed, the man's own auntie rang up to identify him. He later pleaded guilty and was convicted of theft. TVs, hi-fis and the like used to be top burglar booty, but not anymore.
we can go into a supermarket and buy a DVD player for £20. That has meant that the demand for those sorts of items on the stolen goods market isn't as attractive as it used to be, because why buy a second-hand item when you can buy one brand new with a guarantee for a lot less?
But there are some things thieves will always want, like precious metals.
The price of gold in particular is very high, and this really puts your jewellery at risk.
It's quite an easy commodity that you can move very quickly, it can be melted down, and the identity is then concealed.
And it's gold that the robbers are after in Deepak and Preeti's shop. You'll remember that two armed robbers have forced their way into their jewellery shop. And what happens next is remarkable.
Because they've been targeted before, Deepak has had some clever technology installed to trap any more robbers.
The biggest fear for me was my wife first, her safety, her life, and I have to act fast and quickly.
Deepak has managed to reach the store's panic button. This immediately activates the security smoke machine and also sends an automatic alert to the police.
At this point they've obviously looked into the shop and seen that the shop's filling up, and they've questioned us, what is this, what's happening? And to this my husband's obviously replied to them, the police are on their way, and they've panicked and they've escaped into the shop.
The robbers run to the way out, but find the door is locked. While they are distracted, thinking on his feet, Deepak quickly shuts the gate and reinforced door to the back room, safely sealing the couple off. It also means the robbers are now sealed inside the store as it rapidly fills with smoke. Recklessly, one of the men tries to blast his way out, but thankfully his gun won't fire.
If he did manage to shoot at any kid outside, could have been a victim. I mean, he didn't think twice.
Watching the chaos, the getaway driver decides to take off. The van is later found abandoned. In the meantime, Preeti is now directly on the phone to the police.
The shop is filled with smoke and they've got two guns. Please hurry up. You've seen two guns? Yes, two guns. They've held it up at us. Stay on the line for me. Please hurry up. They've got a gun. Please hurry up. Are they still in the shop? Yes, they are.
This serious situation means that Deepak and Preeti must sit tight until a special armed police unit can arrive. Enveloped by smoke, the trapped robbers desperately try to free themselves. Safe in the back room, Preeti and Deepak watch the CCTV pictures live on their monitor.
They can't see anything. They've tried to grab every piece of item in the shop to try and smash their way out.
While the alarm rings out, the robbers struggle to break through the toughened glass of the shop window, sending shards into the street.
They're nearly out through the window.
They're nearly out through the window.
You can see glass tipping out through the window.
They're trying to get out through the window.
Yes, they are.
The noise and spectacle is drawing an ever-increasing crowd. Some film it on their mobile phones.
Have they gone out?
They're nearly through.
Okay, calm down. Are they trying to get out still?
Yeah, they're nearly up.
At one point we could actually see one of the arms and foot come out through the glass, and that's when we've realised, okay, they're going to get away with it, and we don't want to do that. You know, they've come in, they've, you know, hurt our life and everything. We don't want them to get away with this.
Faced with the unusual situation of wanting to keep armed robbers in his shop, Deepak has one more card to play.
I need you to be caught by the police, basically, so I've thrown the shutters down.
With the press of a button, Deepak brings down the automated shutter on the crooks.
We're going to put the shutter down. You put the shutter down. Quickly put the shutter down.
Cut by the glass, one of them stops it with his bloodied hands. The shutter is jammed, but it's done enough to stop the men getting out of the hole in the window. Foiled, they start feeling about in the smoke for the switches that unlock the two front doors.
They've managed to find one of them, press the button, the other guy's gone to open the door. He's holding the door open and signalling to the other guy, come on, we can get out, the door's open.
The robbers open the inner door, but aren't aware they need to find another switch to open the outer door as well. Before they realised it, they both pile in and the inner door slams shut behind them.
So they've both gone into the airlock system and they've both got trapped there.
They're stuck in the doors now.
They're what, sorry?
They're stuck in the doors.
The security cameras stop recording at this point, but when the armed police unit arrives, they find the two robbers caught red-handed in the tight space between the two doors.
And then when we saw the police turn up and realised, okay, they haven't got away, that's when it set in, okay, good, we've caught them.
So much so, it actually takes firefighters 10 minutes to break the robbers out of the shop they'd planned to raid. The two men have no fight left in them, having pounded at the reinforced glass for 5 minutes. Sandeep Singh was already wanted for the robbery of another jeweller's the month before. Part of a gang that made away with £100,000 worth of items. Pleading guilty to robbery, attempted robbery and possession of a firearm, Singh was sentenced to 12 years in prison. His accomplice, Sandeep Kumar, also admitted attempted robbery and possessing a firearm. He was jailed for 10 years. This young married couple have successfully defended their store and trapped two highly dangerous criminals.
The only time we actually got to look at them in their eyes were when we went to court, looking them in the eye and saying, you know, we've caught you and we're sending you down. I'm hoping that we've got everything in place for an incident like this not to happen again.
And it's not just the premises that's been strengthened.
We were traumatised by this whole event. But once we overcame that, it's brought us a lot more closer, because now we know that, you know, we'll do anything for each other. He's there to protect me.
Deepak's security system may be spot on for a jewellery shop, but for most of us, the basics will do.
Close your doors, your windows, and invest in an alarm system.
We all know that, I hear you say. Well, apparently not.
20% of burglaries are still occurring as a result of an unlocked door or window.
And there's one place thieves particularly like.
A third of all burglaries occur via the back window. It's a vulnerability because generally it's out of sight.
Even the smallest of openings can let a thief in, like in this next robbery. This is a burglary in action in a Florida villa. This thief gets in through the dog flap, but he's about to be caught like a rat in a trap. The following events are recorded on a concealed camera installed by the owner after a previous break-in. By sheer chance, at work, the owner of this house happened to check the internet feed from this camera at this very moment. Watching the break-in live, she immediately calls the police.
911. Yeah, hi. My name is Jean Thomas. I'm watching my home on live monitor, and there's a man in my house, and he's robbing it.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from my work. Oh, God, I can't believe this. There goes my cat. She's running. I've got 3 dogs in there.
Okay.
And the cat's, like, freaking out. Oh, God, please hurry.
The operator reassures her that squad cars are on their way. But then, one intruder becomes 2.
2 people in the house. Oh, here comes another one, and a big one, another one in a big jacket. He's in the back, down the back.
She's got another subject.
Okay, yes, now they're running into the back. Okay, they're looking out the back window. Come look at this, Mrs. Morley. There are people in my home.
Ma'am, it's okay. Officers are surrounding your house. They're not going to get away with anything.
This pair of robbers are about to be disturbed as several members of the Florida Police Department arrive outside and shout for them to come out.
The officers already apprehended 2 people.
Apprehended 2? Okay.
Yes.
I see somebody in my house.
Yeah, that's the officer.
There's the officer. Okay, there's another officer.
Okay.
Another officer. They're in the house.
Previous offenders, these 2 juvenile thieves had broken probation and were sent back to prison as a result of this burglary. Back in Dudley, West Midlands, we also see police using hidden cameras to catch thieves. They're setting up covert capture houses, decoy properties full of exactly the sort of stealable items that would tempt a thief. Also full of cameras and sensors that will alert police when the house is illegally entered. 10 AM, and one of their capture houses is activated. Unaware that his every move is being recorded a burglar has got his eyes on a particularly valuable item.
Here's the offender. He's actually entered and has immediately seen the laptop that's just below the table. The camera angle is obviously trained upon that laptop, but the offender can't see the camera because it's been secreted about the house. What you're seeing now is him taking his time to actually remove the cables that are attached to the laptop in order to remove it from the property and maximise any future sale value.
The thief is blissfully unaware he's taken a police bait. As soon as he enters, an alarm is sent through to the police control room and an emergency response car is being dispatched.
The second thing he doesn't know is that actually the laptop he's about to steal is equipped with a tracking device that will enable us to locate it after.
The tracking device works like satellite navigation using GPS. So even if he succeeds, as happens in this case, in getting out of the house before the police arrive, he's far from home and dry.
What we're looking at, the map, or the breadcrumbs as we call it, which indicates where that laptop went when it left the property.
Police can not only see where it's moving, but also how.
The thief initially carried the laptop on foot, then the speed changed, which indicated that actually that laptop had been placed into a car and then it was moving at a much quicker pace.
The track is constantly monitored by police. Once it stops, they can move in and make an arrest. This particular thief is right out of luck. Back at the station, he's recognised by an officer who's come across him before.
In this instance, we were able to locate the laptop within the hour and arrest the person responsible for actually receiving that laptop, and the offender that you see on the video was arrested within 24 hours.
A good day's work. Both the stealer and the receiver of the laptop have been caught and convicted. These two arrests serve as a warning to other potential burglars.
If you wish to break into a property within the Dudley area, you've got a 50-50 gamble. If one of our houses are going to be a capture house, you will be caught and you will be prosecuted.
Doreen Mabbott, who knows the heartache that thieves can bring when they stole mementos of her late 7-year-old daughter, has another message for the burglars.
I'd say, I mean, it probably won't make any difference, but I would say to them, can you just try and think about the effect? Try and think that we're people. You know, we have our memories here. They're not just our possessions, and they mean something to us. And just try not to think of it as just a house with things for you to take.
Since Operation Capture was launched,
Burglaries in Dudley went down by 35%. Not bad. Join us next time when the police and public catch more crooks red-handed.